this December. Some judgment right here. That's the 20 card. So that is a time to reflect without judgment, to love unconditionally. So there may be an issue right in front of your face that is causing a little bit more judgment for you than the norm. It is the time to let go of that judgment before you make a decision on that issue. But not judging yourself or others, kind of putting that down, it gets in the way of our clarity, it gets in the way of our healing ourselves, and that it kind of creates that expectation level of things, how you expect them to be, instead of letting the flow of life just present itself to you. So try to put down some of that judgment over situations. I know that Sagittarius, you've been releasing a lot of responsibilities to other people, so you can do some self-care. So release some of that judgment on how these things are being completed or resolved by other people. It is their journey. So put down that judgment for yourself and for others, because it's very hard to grow if we're judging ourselves so harshly. That is what we are here for, to learn lessons and to move forward from them. So don't be so hard on yourself, Sagittarius. It's the Ace of Swords. Swords is kind of mental acuity, thinking things through, making decisions from a place of integrity. You are on the right path, but it looks like sometimes your morals get in the way of doing things. So, and that's a good thing. So really take an internal look at how that the decision will affect you. And moving forward, speak to the God of your heart, put it out there in the world. If you're having some difficulties making decisions that you're feeling comfortable about, put it out in the world and see what the higher collective, higher spirit, some call it God, some call it angels, put it out in the universe and see what comes back. But you are being guided by the energy and by a positive vibration. And as you make those decisions that are more morally in line with your true heart song, the more that you will be rewarded from them. So no longer making decisions that benefit others, that are out of line with your own morals and your own heart song. So it's time to release the things that do not serve you. So it's a little bit more of the same from the last couple of months, Sagittarius, but the clarity is coming to you more and more, and you're getting rewarded for your good behavior and when you release positive things, and I believe you will see more of that. But it looks like a little bit of an internal struggle sometimes, making decisions that are good for you versus what is good for someone else. So please continue to put yourself first and make those decisions that feel morally complete for you, that will not live in your heart and live in your head and cause you pain. So that looks like this is kind of an amplification of what this is, really releasing some behaviors, some friends, could even be a job, releasing things that no longer serve you. There are other things that are waiting right in the wings for you. It is a 5, so you're about halfway through the journey of cleaning things out of your emotional closet. There's a lot of things waiting for you just over this bridge. A lot. It looks like a simpler life for you. Looks like simplifying your life has been something that's been on your plate for a little bit, that you just don't have the energy, time, or money to keep up doing some things that really weren't necessary in your life. And you're realizing as you release these things that there is a certain sadness, that either the person, place, thing, or habit is gone. So there's a little bit of sorrow to it, but you're really filling up those places that you have released the energy, released the connection, the responsibilities, with things that really serve you better, that are a little bit more simple in your life. So keep simplifying your life and looking at what what would better you versus what would better others. And that has been something that Sagittarius that's been taking place, it looks like, for the last couple of months, as I recall. So the Knight of Pentacles is right here. This is something that is in the past position. Pentacles are Earth. That's Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. It's feeling like releasing some of these responsibilities is reflecting or affecting, it looks like, a male that is probably under the age of 30. So some of the things that you have been doing for other people are kind of coming back to you, like, oh my gosh, why have you changed the game? For a lot of moms, we understand these when we pull back the energy and let the baby birds fly. Sometimes they need to land on their head out of the nest type of thing. That's the best analogy I can come up with. But so it looks like some of these things that you've released, and you're no longer doing these responsibilities for these other people. And it looks like there's somebody that's a little bit upset about it. He will get with the program. He is very capable, but needs to be pushed out of the nest a little bit, and realize that he can do all of these things himself. Looks like a bit of a challenge. It's frustrating for you to see him doing the things over and over again. Just hands off and let him figure it out. This can be a child. This can be a spouse, brother, sister, can even be somebody older than 30, but just has not created the maturity and the wisdom of someone over 30. So it can be even somebody in their 60s that's kind of living la vida loca. But this is someone that's being affected by the things you're no longer doing for them, and kind of handed them the responsibility. This ultimately is your responsibility, and you will learn to do these things. And could be a coworker too that you've been either hand-holding, enabling, something like that. So it looks like there's a little bit of friction there. It will work out. The Judgment card is right next to it. The kind of releasing card is above it. So it will work out. But there's just a little bit of tension right now. It's the beginning stages. Whenever you hand something over to someone that they don't want to do, there will be a little balking. There will be a little resistance. I'll call it resistance. So the Hermit card is what's in present time. This is the time of really looking at what you need to do for you to release energy, to move forward, to feed the light of your heart, to really, this last year has been about making changes and releasing the things that are not healthy for us. And with the shift, with Neptune also, that will be hanging out in the relationship space for a year, that forces us to look at what is healthy for us in all relationships, whether it's parent to child, friends, your own parents, your partners. So it looks like taking some alone time, figuring out what needs to be released, what doesn't, prioritizing for yourself. But it looks like really taking some time for yourself. You're kind of the cog of the wheel, Sagittarius, because you can move energy, you know how to move energy, you know how to get it done. But now it's really time to do some self-reflecting, really take into account what would be better for your health. It looks like the staff here is lighting up. So for some of you, that may mean a medical issue that you have been ignoring that you need to address before it becomes to the emergency part of the issue. So if there's anything physically that you have to do, whether from minor things to a hangnail, to going in for your yearly checkup, to taking care of a hernia, taking care of something, changing heart meds, but there's something that needs to be addressed on the medical field before it becomes something of concern. So it doesn't look like it's of concern now, but there's something that you're aware of, Sagittarius, that you need to just expand on a little bit more self-healing. And take that alone time to make those decisions without the pressure of anybody else's opinion. What is in the future position is the 4, and the 4 of Wands. It is joyful celebration, getting together with friends. This doesn't surprise me at all, since I'm doing this at the end of November, so we have just experienced Thanksgiving, and we're heading towards the holidays for Kwanzaa, Christmas, etc., etc. So it's kind of a festive time of just getting together and baking and enjoying people. Not so much the traditional responsibilities of the season, but really getting in touch with and connecting with the joy, pleasure, and the abundance of love with family and friends. So that is coming up. It's probably already started, dear Sag. What is at the bottom here is the Death card. Now, the Death card, it can be physical death, but most likely it is the ending of a situation, the ending of a relationship, the ending of a job. It's something that you have seen that's coming. It's right next to what I call the old, broke, and alone card, the Fear card. So it may be a shift in money. Pardon me. Maybe a little shift in money, reprioritizing where that money's going. But there is some fear about being old, broke, and alone here, and having to really shift your priorities a bit. And that was also in the Judgment card as well. So really take a look at what your priorities are. Be cautious with your money, not only because it is the holidays, we're gift giving and things like that, but it looks like there's something that came up either in your job, and a bill that came up that you were unaware of, but there is a little bit of pressure on your finances. It looks like either something that you're right aware of, or it will come to you within the month of December. But it also has kind of brought up a lot of fear for you. It may be, for many of you, it may be like your job is reorganizing, or they're doing layoffs, or there's something about money that it isn't as tried and true this month of December. So don't get into fear about it. It's just a temporary situation. This is lighting up for me, looking at alternate ways of making money that maybe you never fathomed before. But this is along the lines too of the illness. Maybe an illness has made you look at money, or disability insurance isn't as much as your normal monies are, but there's something to do with monies. Now, for many of you, it may be illness. It may not be your job, but it's just reorganizing your money so your money works better for you. But put down the fear of the old, broken, alone, because that I'm feeling is a total lie in your space. That you are very loved, very needed in community, and very well respected for your words of wisdom. So it looks like just a little bit of just not trusting your words, not trusting yourself. So please make that switch. Realize that you have a lot of wisdom and you have a lot of skills. So trust yourself and your own self-worth. It's kind of look like you're looking at your self-worth, which goes right along the lines with what's happening planetarily. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train. But so keep that hopes, keep those hopes and wishes stronger than those fears. Walk through those fears. This is only a temporary situation. So the Hierophant is when it's a religious card for many. It's also a really getting in touch with your own spirit, getting in touch and allowing the flow of life to happen. For many of you, it can be collecting information on the spiritual realm, taking a class, doing more religious things. It is the season for religious things. So, and it's right on the line of the celebration. So for many of you, it may be the only time you get into church is on Christmas Eve, but that's coming up. So it's really a time to rejoice in the spirit of this season. and really connect with people heart to heart, spirit to spirit, not just on the superficial level. This is a time of great depth and a time of great joy and emotional, spiritual commitment and connection to yourself and your family and those around you. So it's a little bit more time to do some reflecting, being thankful, finding a little bit more humility in your world. And that looks like that's something that's been going on, actually, Sagittarius, for the last month or so, that you have been humbled and you've been continued to do work out in the world as a humble human being. So less and less ego, less and less fear, more and more faith, understanding, and kindness. It looks like you've been really channeling that. So the Wheel of Fortune is here, which is one of my favorite cards. It's, you know, if you do the work, you're paid. It's paid tenfold. If you don't do the work, you know, you start to lose things tenfold. So it's really whatever you put into life, you will get back tenfold. So it looks like you've been prioritizing things, figuring out what's important, releasing the fears. And this is kind of more of the same, Sagittarius, for you, really doing the hard work, you know, doing the emotional hard work. It's easier sometimes to do these things for other people and to just keep things moving. But it looks like you have really released a lot of things that you aren't physically capable of doing, and that you're emotionally ready to hand off to whoever really owns these responsibilities. So it's more of the same, Sagittarius, and you're really living it. You are really living it. Congratulations. The release of many, many things, of many accumulation, emotional accumulation of years, things that haven't worked for you. And now the slate is kind of clean. What do you want to do? What do you want to fill these things in with? Seeing your friends more often, really grabbing that hobby, whatever it is, but really creating a little bit more bliss and joy in your life, making the time for you, and creating some fun things in life. You're at the point in your life where it can't be all effort. It's just not as fun and not as comfortable, and you are finding your smile. I'm very happy to see that you are finding your smile, Sagittarius. There will be a continuation of some of the challenges on the way, especially with this Judgment card here, but you're really moving more and more towards bliss. The Ace of Cups is here. That's emotions, just overflowing with abundance and happiness and bliss. It's really finding your bliss, really figuring out what is important in your life, prioritizing. So you really are seeing the fruits of your labor of prioritizing, seeing the fruits of your labor of saying those hard things to your spouses, your family, your kids, you know, your boss. You have put it out in the world and said with as much kindness as you possibly can, and now you are seeing the fruits of your labor, Sagittarius. So things are starting to come to you. You're not just giving it all away. It is starting to come back to you as well, which is a much more happier place for you emotionally. You're a lot more balanced. You feel like you're on your path. You may not exactly know where that path is leading you, but it looks like you're firmly on your path. You're a little happier once you have made those changes. And for those of you those haven't made those changes, get on it, because it is right there for you. The Wheel of Fortune is here. So put the energy into that hard work and you will be rewarded, Sag. I know you're a mover and a shaker in this world, so start checking things off your list. Looks like sleep has been just a little bit interrupted lately, either sleeping too much, not sleeping at all, but there's a little bit of the fear place, and this looks like a little bit more residue. It's just the residue of what's left over from the things you have changed and the worry about how it will affect people. So that's lessening and lessening and lessening as you are flowing into the daily routine with the new routine, actually, the things that are no longer your responsibility. You are feeling a little guilty for releasing some things. Some things you couldn't help but you had to release, whether it was a physical restriction, whether it was a job change, a money restriction, but things are looking up. You are getting some dreams, it looks like, that are very telling to you. So Sagittarius, I would suggest that you put a dream journal down next to your bed if you're getting lots of messages on the dream scope. This is telling me that you're getting lots and lots of messages coming to you. So a lot of times we don't really remember them as we become more and more awake. You have that, half a cup of coffee, we've kind of lost what Spirit was telling us on the astral while we're sleeping. So I would suggest just making some kind of dream journal. If you're getting lots of information, jot it down right before you swing your legs out of bed. Don't even look at it. And then take a look at it right before you go to bed and see how telling that information was for you. And if you did get the information that you've been asking Spirit for clarity for. But that seems to help me a lot. It also helps me move past whatever I'm dreaming about over and over again. It gives me more clarity on why I'm dreaming this. But it looks like some resolution is coming. You're getting more and more clarity on things. But it's the transition from really letting go of some things and allowing other people to be responsible for themselves. So there's a little bit of a transition for you, a little bit of worry. Okay, Sag, that looks like your December reading. I'm going to throw some cards here, and these are my chakra cards. Growth. There we go. That totally validates what's going on. So you have really taken a huge leap of faith into growth. It has caused a little bit of guilt because you're no longer being the out-of-control healer and the overdoer and the let's get all these things ready for everybody else. You're allowing them to do their own responsibility. So there's a little bit of guilt. Also a little bit of what do I do with my time? Because you have filled up your time, it looks like, Sag, doing a lot of things for other people. So include you in that list of things to do. You are growing leaps and bounds by making these decisions that have been so hard to make. And it looks like things that have been in your head for quite a while, and I'm talking about years. You have changed some emotional agreements. You've released some friends, looking at how to grow within your relationship or grow without your relationship. So there are some